Hello, folks. Thank you for tuning in tonight. My name is Alex. I'm the co founder of Gameplay Candles, and I'm joined tonight by my esteemed colleague, my good friend, and my current DM Steve. Hey, Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Alex. How are you doing?
I am rushing. As you may have inferred from my hair, I barely made it home in time from a social event. But I'm here now, and I am excited and pumped to get into things. But without any delay, without any wasting of time, how about we jump into the thing that everybody actually joins us for, and that would be the discount game. The discount game. So,
All
uh,
right, D20.
if I'm able to share, is that popping up right? Okay, good.
That is popping up.
All right. So the way this goes, the way this works is we're going to roll a d20, and whatever number it lands on, we're going to add to a baseline of 10% discount off of your entire order at GameplayCandles.com. So let's hope for a high roll today. I don't want to have to use my lucky feet.
Come on.
Okay, I'm using my lucky feet here. Anything less
Come
than
on,
a
you
five.
halfling.
Yeah. Okay, 13. That's pretty good. There you go. So 23% off your entire order at GameplayCandles.com. And I should tell you now that my wife is not here to put up the banners, but if you type in resource at checkout, at the checkout code resource, you get a 23% discount off your entire order at GameplayCandles.com. That's for the next hour. And yeah. So that's the fun part. That's out of the way. Let's take care of a couple housekeeping items, shall we? Oh wait, I just figured something out here. See, haha, my wife. I'm not totally helpless here. Resource
Producing on the fly, Alex.
on the fly. Yeah, look at that. 23% off your order.
It's like you've DM'd it before.
Yeah. Yeah, improvisation is the unnamed skill that every DM should have. But okay, so 23% discount off your entire order at GameplayCandles.com. That's live for the next hour. Use the code resource at checkout. The other big piece of news that we should cover is Steve and I are on the eve of attending our first convention. We're going to be manning a booth at ChupacabraCon 9 in San Marcos, Texas. So if you're in the Central Texas area, come on down. There's lots of gaming to be had at ChupacabraCon. There's about 1,000 people, I think, that are scheduled to show up, and a number of booths. And you can meet me and the illustrious DM Steve there and smell our candles in person instead of just taking our word for it. So, yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want to spend time with a charming pair such as ourselves, right?
And I'll make sure to bring a black Sharpie so Alex can sign candles if
Oh,
requested.
Yeah, it might be worth the ink that I used to print my name on one day. Yeah,
You
maybe.
never know.
Yeah, never know. But yeah, Steve and I are going to be there. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend, May 5th, 6th, and 7th. Come on down to ChupacabraCon in sunny Central Texas. San Marcos, Texas, home of my alma mater, Texas State University. So yeah, eat 'em up cats, right, Steve?
Bobcats.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex.
Oh yeah.
What is a chupacabra for those who don't know or may not be from the
A chupacabra.
Southwest?
Well, now you're putting me on the spot because I'm not from Texas.
That's right. You're from Connecticut.
I came from Connecticut, which is about as far on the other end of the spectrum from Texas
Well,
as you can get.
I'll help you out if you need.
Well, yeah, no, actually, this is interesting. You can grade my understanding. So from what I've heard, chupacabras are a folklore like creature, like just like a jackalope. Except this thing it drinks the blood of goats like a vampire, and I think it's part of the lore is also it has like 3 teeth, like three pokes in the goat's neck, not just the 2, from like a Dracula vampire, but 3. And they're like a little green gremlin looking like thing.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Okay.
I mean, that's a big thing. They're a goat sucker. You'd find dead goats that would be without blood and it was very weird. And sometimes people have shown pictures of them, which
Oh.
usually look like honestly coyotes with mange.
Oh yeah, I've heard. I've heard that.
But
Let's
it's
see.
definitely the same realm as like Bigfoot, Mothman. I think every region's got something.
Gotcha. Yeah, some cryptozoology, I think, is the study of those sorts of creatures. Let's see. So,
Which all make great monsters in D&D.
yeah,
There's
you
the
know,
homebrew.
I wanted to ask the crowd here if you had to come up with a stat block for a chupacabra, you know, lay it out for us. Hit us on the details there. Oh, look, Caroline and Mike are joining us. My wife was saying hello from our social event that I had to leave, rushed from. And let's see. Oh, Pamela Tobias is asking what's the address in San Marcos. ChupacabraCon is happening at the Embassy Suites in San Marcos. I don't have the exact address, but it's going to be a 3-day convention. Going to be hard to miss. So let's see. Oh, Jessica asks, where did Steve get his plant holder with the glasses on it? FDN wants to know. What is she talking about there, Steve? Am I missing it on my small screen? Uh-oh. Who's frozen, me or you? Uh-oh. Oh, this is thrilling television right here. This is why people join. Uh-oh.
I know right now some. I think we're frozen for a half second, but I know they're doing some.
Uh-oh. Oh, God. Okay, Steve, we lost Steve. We'll get answers to his the plant holder as soon as he comes back. But oh, thank you, Caroline, pointing out that Steve frozen. Oh, great. So you guys got to listen to me. Oh, God. Okay. Very good. Well, let's. Oh, good. You
Hey, that might have been me. Actually,
got back in. Yeah. Oh man, I was dying up here. Ugh, tough crowd.
All right.
Steve, you have to answer the question people want to know. Where did you get the plant holder with glasses on it?
Oh, I don't know. Let me grab it so you can actually see it.
Yeah, I can barely see. It's like a small thing on my screen.
It was a gift. Hold on.
Okay. But yeah, it has about as much personality as I do when I'm flying solo up here. Oh wow, it even has a nose. Okay. It has a nose and everything.
It's somewhat insulting because it does have reading glasses as I'm getting older. But the cool thing is I can draw.
Okay. You can stencil in your mood.
Yes.
You know, that sort of reminds me of when I was in the Navy on the submarine. When we'd go out to sea for a while, people would go a little nuts. And there was one guy, I think his name was Culver or Colton or something like that, who shaved off every hair on his head, eyebrows, beard, obviously, hair. And he used a grease pencil to stencil in his mood every day. Sometimes he was constantly surprised. Sometimes he was really angry all the time, no matter what. You know, it just depended on how the grease pencil and what the eyebrows looked like.
Wow.
But, yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that story, but Steve, you actually came up with the topic for tonight's discussion on D&D related activities and whatnot.
Yes, I was thinking about as you plan your campaign or anything with D&D, inspiration. Like, where do you get your inspiration, and then also resources?
Mm-hmm.
As you're doing this, like, where do you go to, like, I don't know, like, vet out these details and flesh them out? There's a plethora of online, you can Google, but sometimes it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's definitely no shortage, right? We can agree there's no shortage of resources for a new player who's just starting off and trying to figure out, how to best organize all the details of your character, the details of the story, and where to draw that inspiration from. I think, Steve, did we touch a little bit on inspiration before? Or is that?
I think we have. And we talked about just, anything from like popular movies, books. There's just the tropes. I mean, one of my favorite ones I always like to reference, The Seven Samurai.
Oh, yeah.
Which influenced, of course, Guns
Magnificent
is a
Seven.
7.
Yeah.
Which then also, if you look at other movies that also is influenced, one of my favorite is The Three Amigos.
I missed that one. That's with
Which
Steve Martin and Martin Short, right?
Yeah, and Chevy Chase. And if you look at it, I mean, it's the same storyline. A village, a bad guy attacks the village. The villagers go seek hired guns to help them rid them of the bad guy.
Yeah.
And it's that same story. It's a trope. It's a good story. And could easily translate to a D&D game. I mean, you're in a pub, some peasants come in, hey, some evil wizard or orc or whatever it might be, and you just kind of use that as inspiration. You can tweak it to make whatever you need, but there's tons of stories out there, and even as much as you think it might be original, chances are it isn't. So there's no shame in stealing it and then just homebrewing it or kind of reskinning it a little bit to make it meet your situation or what you need.
I'd really love to like sit down and analyze those movies through the hero's journey lens, because I know I can already think a bit on Seven Samurai. Some of those characters go through the hero's journey much more explicitly than others, but like, man, I'd love to like, who wants to do this? But I mean, sit down and like, analyze, and let's analyze all the fun out of it.
You can, but I think it's anyone who's got like a passion of like film, or books, or stories, or legends, or myths. They all have a common thread, and you can analyze them, and it's the same thing that translates very easily to what makes a good D&D campaign.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Where the motivation. If you take the time to like flesh out your character's motivations as a player, it helps drive the story. As a DM, if you flesh out like the bad guy's motivation, because I mean, how boring is it if a bad guy's like, I'm evil and that's all I'm going to do? Like, well, okay, why are you evil? What happened? And then even if you have NPCs, your non-playable characters that may interact heavily with the players, like what backstory do they have? Why are they doing what they do? And it can really kind of make the world seem real and fun.
Yeah, adding that depth definitely helps flush out, and it also, once you talk about motivations and stuff, it'll lead into questions that make you think and come up with details that otherwise you wouldn't have. That's been my experience.
Yeah. And then as your players ask questions like at the NPC, like, where are you from? Instead of going like, a town.
Yeah, it's like, well, what town? What's the local political scene? Who are the major players and shakers? And you need to.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be, like a 3-page report, but just a few quick highlights of why they're doing, where they're at, maybe how they got there, just a little bit of thought to it.
Yeah, I like that you're mentioning this too, because I should add that my I'm coming up with a series of blog posts on GameplayCandles.com that are all about one-shots, and specifically I'm trying to provide Dungeon Masters with a background template setting, and I aim to provide a lot of that grunt work of coming up with like, the NPCs and the town names and what stores are here and stuff like that, just so some of that boring stuff can be flushed out already. But we
usually when I'm coming up with like my plot, my storyline, a lot of times I'm like, okay, a village, a kingdom, and then I'll go back and then worry about the names, because I don't get so hung up that then I lose my inspiration. I'll start brainstorming, and
you got to see the forest from the trees. The goal is with these series of blog posts that I can flush out the individual trees and the boring details so that you can keep the story chugging along.
Yeah.
But those articles are posted on GameplayCandles.com somewhat regularly. I think it's about once every 2 weeks.
So what you should do is if you're interested in being a DM, read those blog posts, buy a candle, light the candle, smell the candle, and be inspired as you start writing your story. So I know every time I do.
Yeah, Steve, I swear to God, you're a better salesman than I am. I'm so glad that you're coming to this convention tomorrow, because I would just talk D&D nerd stuff and not fill a single candle unless you were there.
Focus.
Yeah, close to say ABC. Always be closing.
Capitalism.
So the aim is these blog posts are going to be a resource for dungeon masters out there so that they can like easily develop a one shot. But are there any other resources that you use yourself when it comes to prepping for a session or helping organize a character or a storyline or story arc?
I think probably some of the biggest one is honestly just Google.
Mm.
So we just did a one-off where most of my monsters needed to be some like water-based, ocean-based,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just went to Google and typed D&D 5e, underwater monsters, and I got quite a bit of resources. I also went to Beyond D&D Beyond, and they usually have a search function. You go to the monster section and like, what kind of environment are they in? Because that could be important, whether you're in a desert, a forest, urban setting, and they give you a list. I got a bunch of the books. I think anyone who's a DM or has been in this for a while ends up getting a nice library. So Monsters of the Universe, Monsters of the Multiverse, Volo's Guide, all of those. I'll get the idea and then I'll open the book and then start, get the stat blocks and everything put together. But that can be inspiring. But usually when it comes like with the plot or whatever it might be, to be honest, I kind of think of a movie. I try to think of like, hey, what was a good action movie or something that I enjoyed? And then how can I reskin or homebrew or do something? Then occasionally, sometimes you just have something kind of unique, or at least you think's unique. Like the one we did last time. It was so for those who don't know, it was all based on a boat in the water. And it's because Alex, I know you're in the Navy. And so I thought, wouldn't it be fun to do kind of a nautical theme? And then just started thinking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, it could be a ship sailing. And then, they get trapped somewhere. And so I had like a magical bubble appear on the boat, and the boat sank, but they were still protected by the bubble, but the bubble's slowly shrinking because they had like so much time to do something. And that kind of, just came together. And then I had like, 3 encounters because we're going to be playing for about 4 hours. So usually 3 encounters is about what we need to do. It gives enough time for combat and also role playing, because if I do too much, then the one shot becomes like a 2-night, 3-night.
Yeah, that's the trap, isn't it? With the one shot. Yeah, it's easy to overplan, but combat is the time suck usually in those situations.
It is, and I think part of it's like have faith in your players that they will fill in the time with their role playing, their questions.
Yeah.
Don't feel like as a DM you have to plan every minute out. You're really having a skeleton, and then they're filling in with their own stories, and sometimes it's unique, and you get impressed, and you just roll with it.
Yeah.
Roll with it.
Oh, I see what you did there. Listen, real quick, we got a comment here from Mike Herring. Speaking of immersive gameplay, have you thought about switching to wooden wicks to allow for the sound of the fire as well as the order of the candle? Mike, that's such a great idea. It's such a great idea that I've done it. And if you take a look at our the jar candles, the larger of the 2 size candles we offer, that is a wooden wick, and it does have it's a whisper booster wick, so there is that sound element.
Let me see if I can.
There you go.
Hear that?
I don't want to scare people, but I mean, like, it's not super noisy. Like
no, it's subtle.
It's a nice little crackle in the background, so that when you are,
I'm showing off my microphone.
There you go. Yeah.
So it made it very loud when it's not that loud, but
you burned it.
But it, like you said, it's a nice subtle, and it does have that like a campfire sound.
Yeah, it's a great ambiance setter, and you're absolutely right. Those wooden wicks allowing for the sound of that fire is definitely great for that immersion experience.
But those are only on the larger size, right?
Yeah, on the jar size candles.
Yeah, so go big or go home. Go to gameplaycandles.com and order.
Check them out, dogs. Yeah. So you talk about Google and coming up with ideas. Like we've talked about ChatGPT as a great like baseline of like coming up with some unique ideas or mixing and matching tropes and whatnot. But I wanted to get a little specific here for a second, because you mentioned resources, and I thought to myself, oh man, like that's going to be, everything. But if I had to pick my top 3, these would be them.
Ooh, what do you got?
Well, Steve, I know you're not going to be a fan of this because you are a glutton for punishment with your hand-drawn maps and whatnot. But for me, Incarnate is the website that I go to for my map making needs. You can see, you can get everything from like a high level map of the entire kingdom or area down to like a dungeon level. Like if we just take a look, I hope this loads quickly, but Incarnate has it has a free version that is pretty good. I pay for a subscription to their premium version that just has, I think, more styles in terms of map making. Like you can do fantasy map making, you can do old pirate map looking where it's like on a parchment map, or you can do a high def map. But yeah, anything down to specific dungeons, and you add these elements in, just like stamping them on a blank canvas, and yeah, for my money, I think that's the best map drawing tool that I got out there. Yeah, no, Steve, if Steve doesn't spend at least like 15 hours a week hunched over his table on you use these maps that are like 1 inch by 1 inch squares, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So if Steve doesn't spend 15 hours a week drawing maps, like he starts to get on edge.
It relaxes me. No, but I mean, you can put as much time and effort as you want. But tools like this, though, like, especially the one shots, like, I'm trying to put something together very quickly. You may not have time. This is great. Or if you just prefer digital media, I mean, it's a very valid art form too.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you just want to do it in the mind and you want to have a map, that's fine too. Just having like a grid just to help orient yourself. I mean, you don't have to go super crazy. I do it to the extreme, but I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the players enjoy it, but by all means, you don't have to enjoy the game and have fun and be immersed in it.
Yeah, I can confirm that the players do enjoy it. Your maps are great. Let's see. We have the next one for me. This is a simple one, guy. Honestly, it's dnd-spells.com, and what I use these for is you can pick up specific spells, and then you can create spell cards. And this is great for when you're a DM and you have some spell casting NPCs that you're may not be an expert on those specific spells. You create a quick reference guide for, okay, what does each spell do? What are the limitations? What are the requirements and whatnot? And they have a ton of different spells, and you can create little cards like this and then just print it out. They even have a more collapsed view that, let me see if I can remember how to do this, but compress. Here we go.
That's a pretty amazing resource there. I'm still a pretty young DM, and even to D&D, and sometimes I forget to use the characters' magical abilities to most of their effort. So that would be very cool when you're doing the planning for the combat. I mean, that would make
usually when I have like a high level spellcaster, I'll plan out like, okay, round 1, this is what they're going to cast. Round 2, assuming some basic things, this is what they're going to cast. I'll have like the first 1 or 2 rounds planned out for the spell casting, just to make sure that I don't forget to use all these awesome spells. And having this quick reference guide really makes it simple. For the players out there, your DM will appreciate it if you have your spell list annotated to this level in quick reference, because when I'm DMing, one of the things I ask my players to do is be experts in the spells that they have, because I can't possibly keep track of all the spells in the game as a dungeon master. So
really, you take yourself out of the game, the immersion, if you're having to pull out the player's guide and thumb through and then try to read.
Yeah, I mean, it's much better if you just say like, my cleric puts his 2 thumbs together and a sheet of flame bursts out in a 15-foot cone, and you have like all these details because you have this guide right in front of you.
And I mean, let's be honest. If the DM's going to put in 15, 20 hours a week to try to pair the game, the player can put in like 1 hour just to make sure they know their spells.
Yeah. Oh, Ray S. Oh, hey, Ray. Ray S asked, did you watch the new D&D movie? If so, what did you think about it? Steve, we did watch the new D&D movie.
We did.
We're in Austin, and so it premiered, I think, at South by Southwest, and all the local theaters in the area got early screenings. So we saw it 2 weeks earlier than the national release. And let's see, did I like it? Yes, I liked it. I thought it was a solid flick. It was a solid, good, fun movie. I could be an ultra nerd and try to, look out all the little discrepancies and inconsistencies or whatnot, which I will do for other movies. But this movie, I didn't have like super high expectations for it. Historically, D&D movies suck, but this movie was a solid C plus, B minus. That's where I.
Yeah,
Steve, what do you think about it?
It was a fun action movie. If you're not a D&D player, you could enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
But they also had enough. I don't want to say fan service because it wasn't like overly done fan service, but there's enough that you could pick out like, oh, I know what that is. Or they had some, meta jokes about, hey, this spell, we can do it, but it only lasts 1 hour.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's kind of arbitrary. Well, he just laughed. He's like, yeah, it is, but that's how D&D spells work.
Yeah. It was a great introduction, I think, to the D&D universe. And I really, really hope that there are more movies in the D&D universe, in that universe, to come out. I think that if Marvel can do it with their comic books, then a living, breathing community that creates their own content should be able to do the same thing.
Yeah, and it really felt like it was a shot in the arm to the D&D community.
Mm-hmm.
Like it opened the door to more people. I mean, you're seeing more just D&D themed merch out there, which I'm sure it's just Mattel trying to make some money.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to spend your money, you actually should spend it on gameplay candles.
Yes,
but I mean, that said, though, I mean, it was still a great story, and hopefully they will have more movies. Hopefully, financially, it did well. That, you said, there'll be more out there.
I've read like mixed reports on whether or not it was a financial success, which is kind of troubling. But I don't know. All the early news I heard was that it was really good.
And it still hasn't hit like streaming. We'll see what people buy. I mean, how many great movies that did okay, but then like just killed it with, I want to say the VHS rental span.
D&D.
That ages me.
Laserdisc, Betamax. Okay, real quick, with the time we have left, I wanted to talk about the last one for sure. My last pick is a website called World Anvil, which is basically your opportunity to create a Wikipedia site for your own creations. You can keep track of stories. You can keep track of characters. I've just scratched the surface on this one, and this is the world that I've created. This is the kingdom that just the green is the kingdom where most of my adventures have taken place. But basically, each one of these dots on this map was made in Inkarnate and then uploaded. But each site here has an article written about it, and you can add all this detail and really nerd out and waste all your time and productivity on a made-up game. But I love it. I think that, you can even, click on, so many things that are interlinked, and you learned about all the different ways to link up different articles and the different types of articles and templates that they have there. It's amazing, honestly.
You're producing your own movie.
And it's the only way I would ever be able to keep straight in my head the details of my world, because even though it's my world, there's no way I could remember every single thing. Like, what's the political intrigue between this is the Hegate Kingdom and the Emerald Conclave that rules over the forests to the west, So great resource, great website. I've heard of people using this to organize worlds that they're going to be publishing in books. And once again, there is a free version of this. I pay for a 6-month subscription at a time. It's like $25 for like a middle tier subscription. It's all, hey, Alex, more than I need.
On Gameplay Candles, are you going to have like a blog just with at least listing these websites so people can reference?
Yeah, I'm going to list out. I'm going to have a little larger article than just the 3 that we've talked here, but I'll be having a article that sort of talks about what I use, and people should feel free to comment on what they use too. That's what I'd be interested. Oh, look, we got another question here from Noah. Hey Noah, you look a lot like Taylor Swift, but you asked, is the Stranger Things D&D gameplay accurate? Stranger Things is set in the 80s, and they're playing an older version of Dungeons and Dragons that I haven't played. This is 5th edition right now, that came out about 6 or 7 years ago. So I can't really say if it's accurate or not. Whatever the case is, I'm sure it's like an abridged version of D&D. But if that looks fun to you, then I think that modern day D&D will be fun to you as well.
I would say it captures the essence and spirit of the game very well.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah, totally agree. All right, well, Steve, that's half an hour we've taken up of these kind people's evening.
Flew by.
Mike asked, what edition were they playing? I'm not sure if it was first or
second. I'd have to look to see when second came out.
Yeah, Advanced D&D. But yeah, I think I don't think it was first, because they were already using miniatures and polyhedral dice and stuff.
Okay.
So, but I'm not an expert in the history of D&D. I joined just 11 years ago, and really I played one game of 3.5 when I was in the Navy. Thought it was the best thing ever, and then I didn't play it again for like another 5 years. So yeah. But that's it. Let's see. Oh, quick question from Pam. What time does the event start this weekend? ChupacabraCon 9 starts tomorrow at 9 a.m. bright and early. But don't worry, because it's going all the way to midnight on Friday, and it's going to 1 a.m. on Saturday, and I think it's going to like 5 p.m. on Sunday.
Yeah, so we will not be sleeping at all this weekend.
We're going to be partying in the hallways, man. Embassy Suites is going to have to shut us down. Don't quote me on that.
I'm looking for Sheldon Cooper.
Very good. Okay. That's it. That's been a half. Oh, wait. If they had a second, if they had AC, I don't know. I don't remember the details of the game that they were playing. I remember a scene where they were like taking on Vecna, but it's been a number of months since I've last seen it.
Yeah, I'd have to watch Stranger Things again.
Well, I'm pumped. Steve, have you heard when the next season is coming out?
I have not.
Me neither. Dang it. Okay, yeah, I'm jonesing. I need to see how they wrap this up. What's that girl's name? I don't want to give away any spoilers, but there's a character who's like in dire straits right now that I hope is safe. Anywho, that's it, folks. It's been a fun conversation. Once again, head on over to GameplayCandles.com and enter code RESOURCE to get 23% off your order. That's going to be active until 10 p.m. Central Time today, which is the 4th of May. If you're seeing this after the 4th of May or after 10 p.m. on the 4th of May, don't worry. We do this every week and Thursday, and we're going to have some special updates as the convention this weekend goes on too. So stay tuned, and
may the 4th be with you.
I can't believe I didn't even mention any of that stuff. But yes, may the 4th be with you. And take care. We'll see you next week.